that we don't have a single black community in these United States that operates independently as a black Wall Street, meaning there's no place I've been to in America, nor that I know of, where we own our own bank, our own school, our own hospital, and our own supermarket. You need a bank to invest in the people, a hospital to save the people, a supermarket to feed the people, and a school to teach the people. And nowhere in this country do you find those four things in the same area. And then, when I look particularly at Cleveland, I find it interesting that this is one of the few black cities where we are in the numerical majority. 47% of the 350,000 residents of the city of Cleveland are black. 37% are white. And even though we predominate numerically, we are still disenfranchised, economically exploited, and politically oppressed. Absolutely unacceptable.
And why do you think is that?
Well, number one, you cannot control black people, you cannot exploit black people, and you cannot disadvantage black people without the participation of the black bourgeoisie. So in Cleveland, I'm sure there are members of the coonocracy who operate in the favor of the white power structure and against the interests of black people. That is 5 families of the coonocracy, or the black bourgeoisie. Number one, you have your media coons. The media coons are black people who own radio, newspaper, magazine, TV, podcasts, who do not discuss the critical issues in our community. They don't talk about the food deserts we live in. They don't talk about the fact that although 65% of Cleveland's public school students are black, 67% of Cleveland's teachers are white. Why in a predominantly black school district are most of your teachers not black? They won't talk about that, but they will talk about who won the NBA Finals. They will talk about who hit the lottery. They will talk about who got shot at the mini market last night, but they will not talk about the critical systemic issues that affect black people in Cleveland that were introduced from the power structure. They will blame the victim and never blame the perpetrator. So you have your media Negroes, then you have your higher education bourgeoisie. These are black people who work for the school system, the university system, the community college system.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store, preloaded
School system, the university system, the community college system, and when they're asked why black people are in the condition that we are in, they will blame single mothers, poverty, rap music, sagging pants, and Instagram. Although those are contributing factors, they are not causes. The reason black people exist in poverty in Cleveland and everywhere else is because the Federal Housing Authority created a situation where they helped poor white people escape to the suburbs 40, 50 years ago on low interest loans and handouts, and they trapped the black people in the ghetto and then stripped the inner city of the resources that they were given to poor people with the same income out in the suburbs. So everything that happens to us is introduced from the outside. We are at fault because we don't do anything about it. We are at fault because we don't organize and resist. We are at fault because we don't push back. The third family of the black bourgeoisie is your elected officials. Not all, but most of them. Negroes who are in positions of influence and power, but are paid to do nothing to assist black people. That's number 3, I think it was. So you got your media Negroes, your higher ed Negroes, your elected black bourgeoisie, then you have your entrepreneurial bourgeoisie. These are black people who have made a decent living for themselves, come from the ghetto, and after they escape to the suburbs with a nice house and a nice car and probably a snow bunny, they turn their backs on the back of other blacks. And the last of the 5 families, Baba, is the religious bourgeoisie. And I would argue that the religious bourgeoisie is the most dangerous because they have the most control over the way black people think. basically what they do is they evangelize oppression, and they evangelize dysfunction, and they evangelize white supremacy that makes black people think we're in the condition we in because Jesus put us in that condition, or Muhammad or God put us in that condition. In other words, they never point the finger at systemic inequity, systemic injustice, or systemic racism. They come up with fancy religious excuses that rock black people to sleep instead of waking them up to organize against oppression. If you
Alright, I had to go ahead and let him drop the facts before I decided to share what this video, the thoughts this video inspired. As he said, we don't have institutions to organize the people. And I would say the first steps in doing that would be able, when you look back, when you cut out all the negativity surrounding us, all of the if you just disassociate yourself from this matrix, right? Pay it no mind. What are the first steps you do to organize your people? The first thing you must do is be able to feed them. That is the original way of bringing people together, being able to feed them. You can be homeless on the streets and still survive as long as you got food. And so if you're a person that can feed the people, they have an incentive to gravitate towards you. Second thing, well, hold on. I have to speak on the black farmers. From my experience, I didn't hear nothing about no black farmers until the government started attacking their whatever they got going on. Then all of a sudden they came out, hey, we need your assistance to fight them from destroying the black farmers. But as far as I know, the black farmers was operating no differently than the white farmers. All of them was feeding us these poisons. There was no focus on your community, but all of a sudden you're a part of the community when you need the community. That may not have been the case for all of them. I'm just saying, from what I've seen, that's what it is. And black farmers probably would have been the first people in a position to organize the people. They have the food. If they're growing healthy food that actually nurtures the body and feeds the soul and keeps you healthy and growing positively, and but number one, you must be able to feed people in order to organize them, in order to bring them together. The next, you must be able to house them. You must be able to build a home for them. You must be able to teach them to build a home for themselves. Number one, you must be able to feed them, be able to teach them how to feed themselves. Number two, you must be able to house them, be able to teach them how to house themselves. After that, education. As I've said, you must be able to teach them. All those things come hand in hand. Once you get the food and the housing situated, you'll have things to teach them. You'll teach them, you'll spread your knowledge, teach them how to help you help them in terms of growing the food and building the houses. Once you get a piece of land and you got those two things, You don't need nobody else for nothing. You don't need the system. But now, to add on, you want to grow and thrive and create a better future. So that education comes in. And then, since we are in a world that's already controlled by the matrix, it doesn't hurt for us to do exactly what all other countries do, and that's to extract wealth from the matrix. Because the matrix has all the wealth. That's the only thing that makes them powerful. So if you extract it from them, first you got to separate from them. It does you no good to be operating within them and taking their wealth, because you just give it right back. But if you establish your own food, housing, now you can start focusing on your education and ways to extract wealth from the matrix. Whether that be through AI technology, making podcast videos, sharing your talents with the world over the internet, you're generating wealth for your community. And that wealth isn't about any one individual. It's not about that wealth that you bring in shouldn't be about that one person that played the main part. That one person should be like, hey, I know I could do this to generate wealth for our community, for us to utilize, to make us grow, to get the things we need. You see what I'm saying? It should be a we thing, not an I thing. You should operate, when you're operating as a community, you're operating as one. That is the proper way to unify and work together. No such thing as an I. Humans did not make it. I mean, I can't say that I'm proud of where we are today, but I mean, humans cannot grow and develop without each other. They're supposed to work with each other. There are bigger, stronger things out there in this world we would not stand a chance against if we was operating alone, yet alone going against each other or going against the system. It just don't work that way. You have to know how to work together. First, be able to provide food. Second, be able to provide housing. Then you focus on the education. Now, focus on generating wealth, which is basically what he's saying with the banks. But I mean, what he's saying is what we should do within the matrix. And I'm saying we should completely disassociate ourselves with the matrix. And yes, when we start generating wealth, that wealth essentially will go within the bank of our community. If we have to build a building that says bank, I mean, that's an accomplishment. I mean, we generate some decent amount of wealth. And we grow from there. Everybody has a say over their own lives. Everybody has a voice within that community. That's the importance of not overcrowding the community. That's why you have to limit the amount of people within one community. But when you have a population that exceeds what this particular community can support, then that is when you start looking to expand and build elsewhere. This isn't something that should stop. We should never stop growing. Retirement is a matrix thing, right? They sit up there and tell you to work and struggle until you're of age to retire, and then you get the rest. No, you don't need to be stressing yourself out throughout your life. That's some matrix type stuff. And when you're actually living within your purpose and you're happy with and proud of what you're doing, you're not worried about no retirement. You're not stressed like that. You're focusing on how to grow and build your village and how you can contribute to it. Once you get all four of those things going, the matrix is non-existent at that point. Especially if you're expanding where you have multiple communities, connections, you're getting more and more powerful, making that matrix weaker and weaker. This is how the matrix was formed, operating like this. The only thing is they took a darker path. Their objective was to harm those around them. And so they forced them, they with war and all that type of stuff, they forced these people to come in and generate wealth for their community, not letting you know that you're not really considered to be a part of their community. So I think I said enough. I'm gonna leave it there.